stop. Before you toss that chili top or those tomato seeds into the trash, take one more careful look at them. Do you realize you are holding a legacy of survival that has spanned millions of years? We are living in a strange era. We spend millions of dollars on imported plants that are as delicate as porcelain. We buy bags of chemical fertilizers with pungent odors. And then we spend hours every day worrying about why the plants are wilting or why the leaves are turning yellow. We have turned gardening, an activity meant for relaxation, into a financial burden and a psychological pressure. But look out there at the desolate hillsides or the cracks in the concrete on the street. Why are the wild weeds, the bird's eye chilies, and the forest spinach so lush and green, even though no one waters them or gives them fertilizer? The answer lies in a secret that agricultural supply stores never want you to know. Nature does not need human pity. It needs human understanding. Today, I stand here to tell you, gardening is not for the rich. Gardening is for those who understand the soil. I will show you how to build a zero-cost garden, where productivity comes from wisdom and every seed you intended to throw away becomes a brilliant new beginning. Why do I advise you to use seeds from your daily vegetables instead of buying pre-packaged F1 hybrid seeds? From a professional perspective, we need to talk about the concept of the adaptive genetic map. F1 seeds in beautiful packaging are often the result of laboratory breeding to achieve large fruit sizes or eye-catching colors. But the price to pay is that they lose their natural survival instincts. They are like rich kids raised in glass houses. At the first sign of a harsh heat wave or an unseasonal rainstorm, they collapse without stimulants or fertilizer support. In contrast, look at native plants like wild bird's eye chilies, native cherry tomatoes, or local Malabar spinach. These seeds carry within them a genetic code that has been tempered over thousands of years in the very region where you live. Resilience. They know how to regulate their stomata to conserve water during droughts. Root systems. Their roots don't just grow shallowly on the surface waiting for fertilizer. They have the ability to dive deep, weaving through layers of rock and soil to find underground water veins and natural minerals. Symbiosis. Native plants have their own language to communicate with the microorganisms and fungi in the local soil. They know how to attract beneficial bacteria to help them resist disease. When you sow a chili seed in a wild corner of your garden, you aren't just planting a tree. You are sowing a legacy of survival. You don't even need to water it, yet it lives. That is not a miracle. That is the power of adaptation. Many people ask me, how should I improve the soil? How should I make the beds? My answer is always, do nothing. Just observe. The method of the zero-cost garden is extremely simple, but requires finesse. Instead of throwing seeds in the trash, give them an opportunity. 1. Seed collection. When you eat a sweet wild tomato or a spicy chili, keep the seeds. Don't wash them with chemicals. Leave the natural mucilage intact because that is the first source of nutrition and a protective layer against mold. 2. Choose abandoned corners. Don't try to pull every weed to create a bare patch of land. Bare soil is dead soil under the sun. Look for corners of the garden with light shade, where there is a layer of dry leaves covering the ground. 3. Sow and forget. Use your hand to gently brush aside the leaf mulch, drop the seeds down, and cover them back up. Don't water too much. Let the seeds sleep in the soil, waiting for the signal of the first seasonal rains. Why sow in a wild corner? Because there, the seed is protected by an existing ecosystem. The weeds will keep the soil moist, the dry leaves will decompose into fertilizer, and insects will help aerate the soil. You will be surprised to see that one day, from that pile of rotting leaves, sturdy green sprouts will rise with a vitality that no chemical fertilizer could ever create. Zero-cost gardening is not just about saving money. It is a direct act of environmental protection that anyone can do. Every bag of organic waste you throw into the centralized landfill will decompose under anaerobic conditions, creating methane, a greenhouse gas far more potent than CO2. But when you keep that waste in your garden, turning vegetable peels into fertilizer and seeds into green plants, you are closing the loop of the cycle of life. Imagine, instead of spending money on chemical fertilizers, which harden the soil and pollute water sources, you are using the leftovers of your meal to nourish Mother Earth. This is a magical exchange. Today's waste is tomorrow's food. This practice also teaches us patience. In an instant world where people want plants to grow overnight, the zero-cost garden teaches you how to wait. Wait for the rain, wait for the sun, and wait for the instinct of the seed to awaken. That is when you realize that the value of a bunch of vegetables does not lie in its price tag at the supermarket, but in the journey it took through sun and wind to reach your family's dinner table. I want to conclude this sharing with an affirmation. Gardening is not for the rich. Gardening is for those who understand the soil. Wealth in gardening is not measured by how large your garden is or what modern equipment you own. True wealth is when you look at a handful of dirt and see millions of microorganisms at work. Wealth is when you understand that a layer of dry leaves covering the ground is more valuable than any bag of chemical fertilizer. Native and zero-cost gardening is our way of returning freedom to nature. When you stop trying to control everything, stop using money to impose your will on the plants, you will receive a priceless gift: tranquility. A garden that doesn't need much care still produces yield because it has become a part of nature. Start today. Don't throw that chili seed away. Find it a small patch of earth and entrust it to Mother Earth with all your heart. You are not just planting a tree, you are planting a sustainable future, a lifestyle in harmony with nature, and a soul enriched by understanding. Your garden is the mirror that reflects your soul. Let it flourish with kindness and knowledge, not with money.